My girlfriend's mother had cancer and asked me to marry her daughter after 2 months of dating because it was her dying wish. Let me explain how I got here. I met Emma at Jake's birthday party when I was 24. She was 23, standing by the kitchen talking to friends, and something about her caught my attention. We started talking. The conversation flowed easily, naturally, like we'd known each other longer than 5 minutes. By the end of the night, we'd exchanged numbers. We started dating a week later, and within 2 months, we were serious. Coffee turning into dinners into weekends together, building something that felt real. She was smart, funny, worked as a dental assistant. I was a software developer. My parents liked her. Everything felt right. Then her mom got diagnosed. Stage 2 breast cancer. The doctors caught it early, said treatment had a good success rate, but it was still cancer and still scary. Emma was upset, but trying to stay positive. Her dad, Richard, worked construction, but hours were scarce. Her younger brother, Marcus, was still in high school, and the medical bills were piling up. $23,000 from the first surgery alone. Insurance denying half the claim. I started helping where I could. Groceries, gas money, paid for dinners so Emma could save her paycheck. Small things. She never directly asked, but I could see the stress eating at her. I wanted to help. I cared about her. 2 months into dating Emma, her family invited me over for Sunday dinner. Her parents, Marcus, her Aunt Linda, who lived nearby. The meal was nice, normal conversation about work and sports and the weather. Then after dessert, Patricia, Emma's mom, asked if we could all talk in the living room. She looked tired, wearing a headscarf from the chemo, but she smiled at me warmly. We sat down and Patricia took Emma's hand, then reached for mine, her skin feeling thin from the treatment. "I need to be honest with you about something," she said quietly, and I could see Emma starting to tear up next to her. "The doctors told me the cancer has spread." She paused, letting that sink in. "They gave me less than 2 years, probably closer to 18 months. My stomach dropped. Emma had told me the prognosis was good. This was completely different. Patricia continued, her voice shaking with emotion. "I don't have much time left, and I need to ask you something important because a mother's dying wish should mean something." She squeezed both our hands. "I want to see my daughter settled before I go. Married to a good man who will take care of her when I can't anymore." She looked directly at me. "You're that man. I can see it in how you look at her. Will you marry my daughter?" The room went completely silent. Everyone was staring at me, waiting. Emma squeezed my hand, crying. I was reeling from this new information about terminal cancer. Richard nodded encouragingly. Linda wiped her eyes. Marcus looked uncomfortable but stayed quiet. "I care about Emma very much," I said carefully, trying to process everything. "But we've only been dating 2 months. Marriage is a huge commitment, and I think we need more time, especially now with this news about the cancer spreading. We need time to process this together." Patricia's face crumpled, not angry, just devastatingly sad. "I don't have time," she whispered and started crying. "Please, this is all I'm asking for. Let me see my daughter happy before I die." Emma put her arms around her mother, glaring at me over Patricia's shoulder like I'd just killed someone. Richard stood up, his jaw tight. "Can I speak to you outside?" he said, and it wasn't really a question. We went out to the backyard and Richard lit a cigarette with shaking hands. "My wife is dying," he said flatly. 18 months if we're lucky. All she wants is to see her daughter happy and secure before she goes. Is that really too much to ask? I tried to explain that I wasn't saying no forever, just that 2 months wasn't enough time. But he cut me off. "Time is something we don't have. You either step up and be a man, or you walk away now so Emma can find someone who will." I went back inside feeling trapped and guilty. Emma wouldn't look at me. Patricia was still crying quietly. Linda patted my shoulder and said, "Just think about it. That's all we're asking." I nodded and left as soon as I could. Emma called me that night. "I can't believe you said no to my dying mother," she said, her voice cold. "Why didn't you tell me the cancer had spread?" I asked. "Why didn't you tell me she was terminal?" She was quiet for a moment. "Because I was trying to protect you from the stress. But now you know. My mom is dying and she asked you for one thing, and you refused. My best friend Alex told me the situation was manipulative as hell, and I should run. My parents were more diplomatic, but essentially agreed. But every time I thought about ending it, I imagined Patricia's face when she'd revealed she was dying, the way she'd started crying, and the guilt crushed me. The pressure started small but grew relentless. Richard texted me almost daily with articles about commitment, about being a man who steps up when life gets hard, and one morning at 6 a.m. I got a text that made my stomach drop. "Foreclosure notice came yesterday. 60 days to sell or lose everything. Patricia keeps asking if you've changed your mind. Every day you say no, she gets weaker. The stress is literally killing her faster." Linda called every few days, starting casual before pivoting to how Patricia wasn't sleeping, how the doctors said stress accelerates cancer growth, how every day she didn't know Emma would be taken care of was killing her faster, and I had the power to give her peace but was choosing not to. Marcus, 17 years old, sent me a message that hit hardest. "I know this is weird and I'm sorry, but I heard Mom crying last night after you left. She was telling Dad she doesn't want to die knowing Emma will end up alone and broke. She's terrified. The cancer is getting worse, and the doctor said she might not make it to 18 months. Maybe only a year. I don't know what to do. Just thought you should know." Emma herself swung between angry and affectionate, sometimes in the same conversation, texting me, "I love you, please don't give up on us" at noon, and then by evening, "I can't believe you're being so selfish. My mother is dying and you care more about your timeline than her peace. A week into this pressure campaign, Emma asked me to come with her to Patricia's chemo appointment. Please, she said. I need support and Mom wants to see you. I couldn't refuse. We went to the hospital, and 40 minutes later, a nurse came out saying Patricia was asking for me. I followed her back. Patricia was in a recliner, IV in her arm, looking pale and exhausted, but smiling weakly when she saw me. Thank you for coming, she said, her voice weak as Emma held her other hand, and the IV dripped steadily. I wanted you to see this, to understand what we're dealing with. Every 3 weeks sitting here for 6 hours while they pump chemicals that make me sicker than the cancer ever did. She paused, closing her eyes to gather strength. The doctors say it's aggressive, not responding as well as they hoped. I probably won't see Christmas this year. That's what their told me last week. She opened her eyes and looked at me directly. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm just being honest. I'm dying, and I need to know my daughter will be okay. That's all I want. That's all any mother wants. Emma started crying. I squeezed her hand. Patricia squeezed mine. And in that moment, watching this woman who I'd been told was dying, feeling the weight of her very real fear and pain, the pressure became almost unbearable. How could I say no to this? How could I refuse a dying woman's final wish? We left the hospital, and Emma was quiet until finally she said, You see now, right? She's really dying. This isn't manipulation or pressure. This is my mom running out of time and wanting me to be okay. That's it. That's all it is. I nodded, feeling the guilt settle deep, but then things escalated. Richard showed up at my apartment unannounced one Saturday morning with papers in his hand. I want to show you something, he said, spreading documents on my kitchen table. Medical bills, foreclosure notices, collection letters. We're drowning. $200,000 in medical debt and growing. The house has 60 days. When Patricia dies, her life insurance barely covers the funeral. Emma and Marcus will have nothing. If you marry Emma, you two can pool income, maybe refinance our mortgage, buy us time. I'm not asking you to fix everything. Just help us not lose everything. I stared at the papers. This was no longer just about a dying wish. Richard, I said carefully, are you asking me to marry Emma to help solve your family's financial problems? He looked at me like I was being obtuse. I'm asking you to be part of this family, and families help each other. That's what marriage is. Linda took me to lunch 2 days later and was more direct. Look, she said, cutting her salad, we both know what this is about. Patricia's dying, yes, but it's also about Emma needing stability, financial stability. You make good money. Together you could help them keep the house, help with bills. That's practical, not wrong. I told her I didn't love Emma enough yet to marry her. Linda smiled. Love grows. You decide to commit. You decide to build something. The feelings follow. And honestly, you don't have much time to decide. Patricia might not make it to summer. Every week you wait is a week she suffers, wondering if Emma will be okay. 3 weeks after that initial dinner, Emma came over to my apartment looking exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. We sat on the couch and she started talking about wedding ideas, colors, venues, guest lists, and I felt panic rising. Emma, I said, I haven't agreed to get married. She turned to look at me, and something in her face was different, harder. What are you waiting for? My mother is dying. My family is losing everything. You have the ability to help, and you're choosing not to. That's what it comes down to. You're choosing yourself over us. That's not fair, I said. You're trying to guilt me into a decision that will affect my entire life. Marriage isn't something I should do because I feel obligated. She raised her voice. I love you. But yes, there are other factors too. Is that so wrong? Is it wrong to want my mother to die in peace? Is it wrong to not want to be homeless when she's gone? I stood up. It's wrong to manipulate me using your mother's death. It's wrong to have your whole family pressure me. It's wrong to act like I'm a bad person for wanting more time. Emma went very quiet, and then she started crying. But these tears felt different, real, not performative. You're right, she whispered, her voice breaking. You're right, and I hate that you're right. She took a shaky breath, and what came next stopped my heart. My mom isn't dying. Everything stopped. What? The cancer is real, she said quickly, words tumbling out. Stage 2 is real. The chemo is real, but it's treatable. The doctors gave her a 75% 5-year survival rate. Good prognosis if she completes treatment. She was fully sobbing now. They never said 18 months. They never said terminal. My dad made that up. I couldn't breathe. What are you saying? I'm saying they lied, she said, tears streaming. Dad and Linda planned it. They saw you as a solution to our financial problems. Nice guy, good job, actually cares about me. She looked down, ashamed. They told Mom to say the cancer had spread, to say she was dying, to make it as dramatic as possible. Mom went along with it because she's scared about money too, and they convinced her it wasn't really lying, just emphasizing the seriousness. My hands were shaking. The hospital visit. She said she wouldn't make it to Christmas. She was reading from a script Dad gave her, Emma said. I'm so sorry. I went along with it because I was scared and they said this is how we survive. But watching you these past 3 weeks, seeing how guilty and trapped you feel, I can't do it anymore. You don't deserve this. I stood up and walked to the window. I couldn't look at her. Your mother isn't dying. She has cancer. That's real. But she's not dying, or at least no more than anyone with stage 2 cancer. Most people survive it, and you knew from the beginning. Yes. Her voice was tiny. I knew. I turned around. Get out, please, Emma said, reaching for me. I do love you. That's real. Can we start over? Can we just date without all this pressure? I shook my head. No, because every word out of your mouth has been a lie. Every tear, every guilt trip, every fucking thing was calculated. Your family used cancer, which is already terrifying, and weaponized it. You faked a terminal diagnosis to manipulate me into marriage. That's not just manipulation. That's evil. She left crying. Richard called me within an hour, screaming that I was abandoning them, that we were losing everything and I didn't care. I hung up. Linda left voicemails. Marcus sent texts. I blocked all of them. Patricia called once. I'm sorry, she said. I let them talk me into it. I do have cancer and I am scared, but I shouldn't have lied about dying. That was wrong. I didn't respond. I just hung up. 2 months later, Jake told me something that made me laugh bitterly. Emma got married, he said. Remember that guy from her work? The dental surgeon? They've been dating for 6 weeks and got married last weekend. Quick courthouse thing. His family has money. I heard they're helping with her family's bills. Guess she found her solution. I nodded. Of course she had. A year later, Jake mentioned he'd run into Patricia at the grocery store. She looked good, he said. Said she finished treatment and is in remission. Cancer, free. I felt a weird mix of relief and anger. Relief that she wasn't actually dying. Anger that they'd put me through hell over a lie. Looking back, I realized they were desperate people who made monstrous choices. The financial crisis was real. The cancer was real. The fear was real. But instead of asking for help honestly, they created an elaborate manipulation built on fake terminal diagnosis and emotional blackmail. They saw me as a resource, not a person.